exciting day. We are about to go out and explore the Everglades as two and a half, we have our baby too. As Florida natives, born and raised, we've never explored the Everglades before, so it is time. We're very curious how different and if it'll even feel very different, because we live around a lot of nature here in Florida. We see alligators quite often, so we're curious how it'll be just something new. And they also have crocodiles. I believe the Everglades is the only place in the country where you can see crocodiles and alligators living in the same environment, so that's really neat. And there's a ton of ranger-led activities at this park, so that's exciting as well. We'll see what we're able to explore, but super excited to spend the day exploring the Everglades. We're going to be at the south side today, and then tomorrow we'll make our way up north. It is a ginormous park, so we have a lot to explore. Let's get to it. The first stop on our adventure was Robert is Here Fruit Stand, which is a very popular spot on the way into Everglades National Park. It's family-owned produce market, and we figured it was a great place to sort of grab some snacks and fuel up. And little did we know we were about to step into a whole little world with animals and milkshakes and hundreds of different types of fruit. Oh, look at these cuties. Hi. Look, love. This tortoise is upside down. What in the world? The wide array of exotic fruits was just really neat, and a lot of it is locally grown there in Homestead, so it was fun to browse around and pick up some fruit. Then we made our way to the entrance, which there are 3 main entry points to the Everglades. This is the Ernest F. Coe Visitor Center entrance, which is the Everglades main headquarters. So it was kind of neat to start here, and then our admission actually lasted for a whole week. So we were able to use our admission for both days that we explored the park. We gawked every time we saw a panther crossing sign. That is definitely not something you see too often. And the first landmark that we stopped at was the Nike Missile Base, which is a historic site and relic of the Cold War. It was pretty striking how untouched this site seemed. You pull up and you see 3 missile barns, and something especially interesting to us was the guard dog kennel and the role that the guard dogs played at this site. They were absolutely crucial. The site included many relics honoring the dogs and just emphasizing how important they were to this mission. Braden's seeing if we can go inside this building. I think we can go inside that one over there. But he's being a curious explorer. This site isn't always accessible and open to visitors, but they do have an open house program. So if you are visiting the Everglades, you can check in and see what the hours are. There was a volunteer park ranger that we could chat with and ask questions, and they also have ranger guided tours on certain days and at certain times. Okay, we are at Royal Palm Visitor Center, and something quirky about this destination is that apparently vultures come after your car sometimes. They have this sign and they have tarps that you can cover your car with, so it's really getting wild out here. It seems that one of the true highlights of the Everglades is Aninga Trail. That is a big one right there. It's just shy of a mile long, so it's a lovely little stroll, and I feel like it's pretty much guaranteed that you will see something exciting, whether it's Aningas, the namesake of the trail, or an alligator. Pretty much as soon as we started walking along the pavement, we saw this ginormous alligator just totally relaxed, totally at peace. Something that I really appreciated was just how calm and at peace the wildlife was amidst the visitors, and everyone just was so respectful. Of course, this is their home, and I just really appreciated how everyone just kept a healthy distance and admired the animals, and the animals just seemed totally unbothered. So that was just really lovely to see everyone coexist and just enjoy this beautiful environment and the nature. So This was a wonderful trail. We saw lots of fish, birds, you name it, and they have little signs along the way so you can sort of learn a bit about the flora and fauna.
Open trail, and there's a big gator, a very big gator. It looks very peaceful though, I will say. So many seeds floating in the wind. We see these little like white flecks, and Brandon had the smart idea that it's probably seeds.
When we were reaching the end of the trail, we were able to get a closer look at some aningas that were sunbathing, and it was really neat because the male aningas, they had this bright blue color surrounding their eyes, and apparently that means it's breeding season, so that was really neat to see. We then made our way to the Guy Bradley Visitor Center at Flamingo, which is about a 45-minute drive from Royal Palm, where we were at Aninga Trail. And this visitor center definitely was a whole other level. I think it was recently renovated because it was quite beautiful. Such gorgeous views of the bays and a lot of different informational kiosks and interactive moments. And again, they had plenty of different ranger-led activities. So at this point in the day, things were winding down. It was around 3 p.m. So there was one bird talk that we heard going on, but we were immersing ourselves just in all the different displays, like I said, and kind of figuring out our next plan of action.
Fingers crossed we see one of these bad boys. That would be our first time seeing crocodiles in the wild because we only have alligators where we live.
As soon as we got out of our car here, we got swarmed by mosquitoes. Thankfully, we packed the bug spray, but at the other trail, we didn't have any problems, but they are alive here.
They even have a mosquito meter. Looks like we're at unpleasant today. I would really be scared to be here when it says insane.
There was one more boat tour of the day at 4 p.m., so we decided to make our way over to the marina, grab some tickets, and as soon as we rolled up, we saw this crocodile just truly enjoying himself or herself, I'm not sure. We learned that it's actually very difficult to tell the difference of a male or female crocodile and alligator. You have to get really up close and personal with them if you want to really be certain, but typically if they're bigger, they're a male, and smaller, they're a female, but of course age can all be a factor. But we were jazzed to see this crocodile nice and close, and just surprised we were able to see one right off the bat, but that was great. And it was hanging out in the basin of the marina pretty much the whole time we were getting ready and loading up the boat. So we got to see it from all different kinds of angles, and seeing it swim down deeper in the water was quite eerie and ominous. And I don't think I will ever be swimming in these waters. Every time I see an alligator and now a crocodile, I am just in awe that us Floridians are just living amongst essentially dinosaurs. I mean, not technically, but basically dinosaurs. It's just really, really wild. Super thankful we decided to go on this boat tour. It was such a gorgeous time of day, and just feeling the breeze and smelling the salty air. It was a really lovely experience, and there was a naturalist on board as well. So she was so wonderful, just sharing all of these different tidbits and her knowledge. She clearly was so passionate about the Everglades and the history, so she shared so much valuable information. Something interesting about the Guy Bradley Visitor Center is that it's named in honor of Guy Bradley, who was a conservationist. There was a lot of poaching going on at the Everglades, and he actually ended up sacrificing his life in protection of the animals here in pursuit against the poachers. So that was definitely sad and interesting, but it was really amazing to just hear about all of the hardships that this territory has just overcome and the animals have overcome. The threat of people and invasive species and pollution, everything just played such a big factor. So again, it's really valuable and just interesting to learn about all of these intricacies. We boated over to Murray Key, which is one of the little islands that you see off of the bay, and something that the naturalist shared here that was quite interesting, besides pointing out all of the different birds and the bird's nest, is that the Murray Key is actually named after the Murray family who lived here for many, many years, and they actually had 9 children, which is just really remarkable if you kind of try to imagine what it would be like to live on this island with your 9 children, just fishing for and hunting for all of your food, collecting rainwater as your water source. It really was just interesting to sort of imagine that as we were boating along these waters and thinking of all the wildlife here as well. So that was an interesting fact that she shared. And then, of course, it was just wonderful to see all the birds, all of the trees, the mangroves. The mangroves are remarkable. They are so sturdy and strong and so beautifully designed by the creator to withstand storm surge and all the elements. It's just incredible how the ecosystem is so perfectly put together. And then the most delightful thing happened. We just see this pod of dolphins playfully swimming our way, just eating some dinner, I suppose, but it was just wonderful. I was not expecting to see dolphins. I didn't really think of it, but it was just so fun to see. And again, this time of day was just glorious. So that was wonderful. We also saw a bald eagle. It was a younger bald eagle. So we learned that bald eagles don't acquire their iconic white plumage until the age of around 5.5. So they won't have that iconic white head with the yellow beak until they're a bit more mature and older. So that was super interesting. And now I'll definitely keep more of an eye out because I feel like it can be easier to sort of think or mistaking a younger bald eagle for an osprey or something or different bird of prey. So that was a fun fact.
Pelican taking off behind us in the distance.
I wore my manatee socks for good luck. Hopefully we'll see one.
On our way back to the marina, we saw our pod of dolphins again, and they were just being so playful in the wake of the boat, and they just sort of swam alongside us for a good 10 or 15 minutes. It was, again, just truly so wonderful and felt like such a special way to end our first day in the Everglades.
Good morning. It is day 2 of going to explore the Everglades. We were expired last night once we left the park. What would you say? It was like an 1.5-hour drive from Flamingo to exit the park back to Miami? Or like an hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was a little over like an hour and 40 minutes to like Coral Gables. So
Yeah.
little suburb.
Yes, so we were tired, but we're feeling energized. We're ready for another day, right?
Slept all right.
Yeah, we're gonna go grab breakfast.
Weather looks nice. Yeah, get a healthy breakfast.
It's a gorgeous day. Very
Coffee.
humid, but very gorgeous. We kept saying, because it's the dry season at the Everglades right now, meaning that it's not super rainy this time of year. I mean, you always have the chance of rain in Florida, but it's not especially rainy like the summertime. And we were thinking how wild it would be to visit the Everglades in the heat of summer with the temperature, but also just the inclement weather. It's
probably extra mosquitoes. Obviously humidity and everything.
Yeah,
but
thankfully we only had that like one time where the mosquitoes were coming for us.
That was weird.
Yeah, I feel like we parked near a nest or something and they were just coming for us. I don't know.
Who knows?
But it was a good day. We got to see some amazing creatures.
We did.
I'm so thankful we saw a crocodile. We never saw the manatees, but that's okay.
2 crocodiles. One
Yeah.
we saw a lot, and like the whole body, and then one up on a bank just a little bit.
That was really neat. And then the dolphins. I mean, that was incredible. And I need to correct. Yesterday I said that the Everglades is the only place in the country that has both alligators and crocodiles, but it's actually the only place in the world where they coexist. So that feels super special. Today we're headed up to the north side of the Everglades. It's called Shark Valley, the visitor center.
It's like in the middle.
Oh, okay.
I think there's another pass that goes through a little north of
really?
the state. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, we're gonna check out Shark Valley, see what there is to see. Oh, I see a cat right there. You see the cat? We're seeing all kinds of wildlife, but excited to see what we'll have in store today. But first, let's fuel up with some breakfast.
Of the highlights.
Oh, true. I'm getting ahead of myself.
You go first.
Every day we like to do a highlight of the day and just see if we have the same one, what it could be. I'm really in between the crocodile and the dolphins. I mean, the dolphins are incredible, but the crocodile is just like so neat and so unique. I've never seen a native crocodile in Florida. So I'm gonna go with the crocodile. What about you?
I'm in between breakfast and the dolphins.
Breakfast at our hotel?
Yeah.
That doesn't count. You're supposed to only say that.
Not really.
Speaking of food options at the Everglades, pack a picnic because there's not much, which we anticipated, but just if you are planning. They have some concessions here and there, but it's definitely like not a whole lot going on besides nature.
No, definitely the dolphins was so awesome. It was incredible seeing the crocodile, but I just love the dolphins and their playfulness, and they were along the boat. Well, like we saw them once and got to look at them for like 3 minutes maybe, and then like 45 minutes later maybe on the way back we crossed paths with them again, and then several of them just tagged along the boat for like 15 minutes just catching the waves. And then at one point, I don't think we caught it, but one of them just jumped entirely out of the water and was like, ah!
Yeah, it was
so
amazing.
funny.
At sunset, very picturesque. A beautiful way to end the day, truly.
It made sense for our little family to stay in Miami between our days in the Everglades, but there are tons of different camping options if you're feeling extra adventurous and want to spend the night in the park. There's lots of places where you can go on airboat rides, which we won't be doing today, but that would be a neat way to see the marsh and the Everglades and get a closer look. We made it just in time to Shark Valley to sort of settle in a bit, and then they had a 10:15 a.m. guided trail walk with a park ranger, so that was absolutely wonderful. The park ranger, again, was just so passionate about the history and the conservation efforts. I think I want to be a park ranger one day. Maybe that'll be my retirement job. It's just so neat, their stories, and I feel like they're just grounded people because they spend so much time in fresh air and in nature. So that was great to get to experience that. And then we bought tickets for the tram tour, which you can rent bikes here. You could even walk if you wish, but I'm glad we signed up for the tram tour because there's a 15-mile paved road that makes its way over to the observation tower, which is the destination of the day, really, because you get this 365 view of the Everglades, and it's this sort of bird's eye moment. So very thankful we did that. The tram tour is about 2 hours, though. Just keep that in mind. Pack some water, pack some snacks, and hunker down. On the tram tour, they stopped frequently to show us some different birds, animals, and again, we're just sharing a plethora of information as we were exploring. So that was wonderful. Something that I wanted to talk about, because this is often talked about in regards to the Everglades, are the impact of the invasive pythons. So unfortunately, many people in Florida, I don't know if I should say many, I'm not quite sure how many people, but animals will do what they do and they're gonna repopulate, but they released their pet pythons, which they no longer wanted anymore. They're just like, oh, let's put them in the Everglades. I'm sure an alligator will eat them. Well, unfortunately, no. They have become quite an issue. It's actually quite sad because there used to be a lot more mammals in the Everglades, but now there are basically no mammals. There's the panther, but there used to be rabbits and deer, but the python population has really been detrimental to those species. So that was really interesting, and they really emphasized just how important it is to be knowledgeable of what's native to the area and really trying to support those species, because again, it's all perfectly designed, but unfortunately there can be some negative impacts when we intervene. Now for a quick little rapid fire Everglades fun fact. Florida actually has a Python Action Team program where there's different trainings to help combat this invasive species because they don't have any natural predator in this space. So that's something interesting. And then the Everglades is also responsible for supplying drinking water for 1 out of every 3 Floridians. So it's really essential for our survival as well. Tarpon fish are native to the Everglades and they live about 50 years, while the American alligator has a lifespan of 30 to 50 years, while the American crocodile lives about 50 to 70 years in the wild. And it's estimated that there are over 200,000 alligators in the Everglades and over 1.5 million in the whole state of Florida, which sounds like a bunch, which it is. But when you think about it, there are over 22 million people that live in Florida. So we still have them quite outnumbered, and it's really important to just respect them and keep our home a beautiful, safe place. We are back home from our Everglades adventure. We're munching on some of the fruit that we got at Robert is Here fruit stand at the beginning of this whole excursion. It's really yummy. We have passion fruit and star fruit. The passion fruit, it's like sour candy, right?
Yeah, it's a little crunch. And
Yeah,
so it's kind of like alien food. It's just, especially like scooping it, just like goop.
Yeah, but it's good. It's like gooey, but then it has the crunchy seeds.
Pretty bizarre.
I'm thinking about growing some in our garden, so now we know we both really like it. So that would be maybe a good thing to plant. And then star fruit is just so fun. Like on a fruit bowl or something, it's a really incredible fruit. Like it perfectly is shaped like a star, and then it's yummy. That one's perfectly ripe. Also at the Robert is Here fruit stand, it said when picking out passion fruit to try to grab ones that are wrinkled on the outside. That's how you know that they're tasty and ripe. So yummy.
Which one do you like more?
Passion fruit.
Passion fruit.
What about you? I like the name too. Both are fun names, passion fruit and star fruit.
Maybe the passion fruit too. Star fruit's really good though.
We're really thankful we took time to explore and visit the Everglades. It's just really incredible. 1, how vast it is. 2, how great of a just addition to the state, or how important it is to the state of Florida for conservation, for wildlife, but even just as a water source for the population of Florida. So it's really cool. We picked up so many different tidbits and just education, so that was great. But overall, I know Brandon said this a lot, but we're just thankful we live around so much nature in general. We live by a lot of water in Florida, so we're able to see tons of birds like we did in the Everglades, lots of alligators, but we definitely saw some new things as well.
Thinking about the manatees at the springs right around us.
Yeah.
Which we didn't see any manatees in the Everglades.
Yeah, no
but
manatees.
We literally saw 300 plus, like 2 or 3 weekends ago.
Yeah, Blue Springs.
So that was awesome. And I know I said as well, which we learned yesterday, that back before human intervention kind of messed things up a bit, that in like the 70s and 80s, and also, not just the human intervention, but the pythons, but they used to just have lots more mammals, so you'd see white-tailed deer and rabbits, everything just running around, whereas like yesterday on the tour in Shark Valley, it was cool, but it was like you saw some alligators and neat birds, but I don't think we saw any mammals at all.
Yeah.
Over just like tons and tons of acres.
Yeah.
So
the pythons really did the Everglades dirty, truly. Well, really the people that brought the pythons. But yeah, they really emphasized that, which of course that really did change it forever.
Yeah.
Just the invasive species. It's just, yeah, we learned a lot about how important it is to protect wildlife. You agree? Yes. Okay, highlight of the whole time, the whole 2 days. What was your highlight?
I think the dolphins, seeing the dolphins.
Yeah,
and
still the
I liked
dolphins.
the bay part of it more
Yeah.
than the inland.
Yeah, we
and Shark
preferred
Valley.
the southern
You're seeing the water.
flamingo.
It went at a really pretty time, like at golden
Yeah,
hour.
it was
And then it
gorgeous.
was just so neat for, seriously, 15 minutes or so. Just dolphins swimming on our boat and then just
Yeah.
putting on a show. And it was just
Yeah,
so
that was
silly
sweet.
and fun to watch.
Yeah, I loved it. I think for me still, like my favorite fun fact, which we learned a lot of fun facts, is that in the Everglades, you can see crocodiles and alligators coexisting, which they do coexist in the same environment, but they're not going to be just buddy-buddy little pals swimming in the water together because we learned they're very territorial, so you won't have the alligators and crocodiles too close together, but seeing a crocodile in its natural environment in Florida, again, was just like a bucket list thing, so...
Yeah. That was neat.
Very thankful for just 2 full days like outside as well, getting some fresh air. They kept saying too the air quality is really supreme in the Everglades because of the mangrove trees and of course the lack of humans. So
Yeah, I'm sure we've said already that it was pretty warm and even
It was
early
warm.
February, so
yeah.
it would be tough, and I imagine there'd be a lot more mosquitoes as well if
Yes.
you go in the summer from like June to
Yes.
September or something. So I'm glad we went when we did.
Absolutely. Definitely. A thing checked off the bucket list for sure, but I hope you all enjoyed this vlog. I hope you are well. I'm excited to see you next. Bye!
Bye!